Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Hi. I hope you're well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your practice. Something you've heard me say many times if you've been watching this channel, or I don't know how many videos you've watched, but it's something I've repeated often, and you may have heard me say it before. This rhetorical conundrum I find with the word teacher and student. Because on the one hand, you can look very Ichinen Sanzen-like at all the human beings on the planet and wherever else that we might be, in whatever form, and you could say that everyone has some sort of connection. Of course. Potential is potential. It can take, because it is potential, myriad forms, and we certainly are not a full database of the universe's instantiations of those forms as they continue to invent themselves, yes? Back down to earth. We call somebody a teacher who, in some form, shares with us something we value as knowledge or method or way of being, doing, so on and so forth. It's largely a samsaric necessity. Yeah, all of the things that we generally learn in schools and trade schools and colleges and universities and at work and at jobs and blah, 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 is a finessing and an experiential expansion of our desires and our creative means of dabbling in this illusory physical world with the mind of identification, of possession, of owning, whether it's a skill or a hot dog or baseball. It's all about ownership and how to achieve that ownership, how to treat that ownership, what can be done with that ownership, even mathematics, right? And then the student is simply understood to be the receiver of that, whatever that communication, that bequeathal is. My problem with that is, although that's an interesting and simple convention of interhuman relationships, or inter-mind relationships, I posit that a lot more information that is distributed via one mind to others, singular or vast in number, is scarcely received either with its original intent or its original content, with all of the various permutations, whether it be language, culture, biases, and from the originator, and certainly through innumerable filters into the receiver. So my contention, quite simply, will he ever get to it, is the teacher is really the mind itself, sifting through this information and making it relatable, somehow useful in the motivations and needs, quote unquote, of the quote student. So the student ultimately is the teacher, and the student at the same time. The teacher person or individual or modality is simply sharing data, impressions, so on and so forth, from whatever their experiential needs were, are, so on and so forth. And they, in a way, become a student of the student reaction. So it's a back and forth as well, right? My point, and the reason I'm babbling on about this, is because just off the get-go, as we go back into this chapter, this conversation between Mahakasyapa and Shakyamuni Buddha, I think Shakyamuni hits on this, not in the same words, obviously, but I didn't want you to miss that subtlety. And I think this is a subtlety that continuously comes up in sutras and individual storytelling that gets missed a whole lot. And I think it's an important aspect of our Buddhist practice, because once again, it puts the onus of enlightenment on ourselves. You know, this constant chasing after some future Buddha who will then bequeath upon you enlightenment. That's religion. It's total nonsense. Shakyamuni never taught that. That idea can only come from the stifling thought that as a student, you're just an ignorant vessel, and it takes a teacher to stuff you with enough knowledge that you can actually function. It cuts you, your onus, your power, your investment in life, cuts it off from realization. See, and I don't like that. I don't like that. That's what, whether it's always been this way or this is something of our modern era, a lot of people, a lot of civilizations, cultures, peoples have, and maybe this is the karma of man, like to slough off responsibility as much as possible. Whether it's fear of being blamed or feeling small or inadequate, or who knows. It's definitely samsaric, yeah? So certainly, as we're talking here about the highest motives of Buddhist teaching, we shouldn't be reinstantiating this ridiculousness, yeah? We need to uncover this and blow it apart. So I think it's one of the greatest remaining obstacles to the real understanding of Buddhism. Oh, sorry, I hate to make noise when I drink. All right, so here we go. Bodhisattva Kashyapa said again to Shakyamuni Buddha, "O world-honored one, you may say that you look upon all beings equally and treat them as you would an only son, such as Rahula." You know what he's going to say, don't you? But this can't be. This is not so. He doesn't say this can't be. He says, this is not so. Pretty arrogant, if that's actually what he said. O world-honored one, teacher, right? The great sage. A person may try to harm you with a sword. In other words, oh yeah, you're going to treat that person like your own son? Kashyapa is really, really missing the point here, isn't he? But who amongst us hasn't thought of this very conundrum? Or there may be someone who tries to paint Shakyamuni Buddha's body with sandalwood paste. Not sure what would happen if that, but it might end up being a burning sensation or something annoying, obviously. If it is the case that you view both persons with the same eye, the one who wants to lather you in lavish ointments and so on and so forth, and the one who wants to behead you with a sword, and you look upon them the same, with the same eye of appreciation as though they were your only child, how could you cure moral offenses? Because obviously you couldn't tell the difference. Missing the point again, right? If it is the case that this cures moral offenses, this does not make sense. Well, obviously, because your priori, Mr. Kashyapa, is that there is judgment, there is always judgment, and not everyone is deserving of the same compassion and understanding. Love. See, he doesn't get it. Because those judgments are based on ego, self, craving and clinging. This is hard to understand, so, I'm moving through it pretty quick. If you want deeper explanation, I could do a video on this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, okay? Let's move on. Shakyamuni Buddha says to Kashyapa, and this is how Shakyamuni Buddha responds. Now listen carefully. An illustration, O good man. The king, minister, and prime minister may desire to bring up their sons who are right set in countenance and sharp in intellect. One of those fathers takes 1, 2, 3, 4 such sons and hands them over to a strict teacher and says to him, quote, please teach my sons comportment, good behavior, the arts, writing, and reckoning. These my 4 sons will study under your guidance. Even if 3 of my sons die of goading, teach the last with whatever means you may think fit. I may lose the 3, but I shall not be vexed. I shall not be vexed. Interesting word to use. Because ultimately, it's the responsibility of the sons to teach themselves. O Kashyapa, are the father and the teacher responsible for killing? Did you see how he made that leap right there of logic? This is why I wanted to intercede with my little story. If 3 of the sons die, is that the fault of the father for putting them through this gauntlet? Is it the fault of the teacher? One still survives. The individual person is responsible for their karma, for how their karma is expressed. And only that person, only you, can prevent forest fires. So sorry. Only you can control your experience of life. It just, that should be so crystal clear. And yet, it's easily manipulated. Of course, Kashyapa says, no! They're not responsible for killing, O honored one. Why not? Because a loving mind was at the bottom of their actions. What there is here is accomplishment, but not a malevolent mind. Such teachings will be met with good to limitless extent. Well, how can you say this now, Kashyapa, and a moment ago You didn't get it. How are you sequestering these thoughts in your head, right? O good man, the same is the case with Shakyamuni Buddha. He views those who transgress Dharma as he views his only son. Shakyamuni Buddha now entrusts unsurpassed wonderful Dharma to the hands of kings, ministers, prime ministers, bhikshus, bhikshunis, upasakas, upasikas. All of these kings and 4 classes of Buddhist Sangha will encourage those who practice the Buddhist teachings and enable them increasingly to observe the moral precepts, practice meditation and wisdom. If there are any who miscarry these 3 aspects of Dharma, and if there are those who are indolent and who break the moral precepts, the kings, ministers, and the 4 classes of Buddhist Sangha will work hard and remold such people. O good man, should all these kings and the 4 classes of Buddhist Sangha be blamed or not? No, indeed, O world-honored one. So, good man, these kings and the 4 classes of Buddhist Sangha are not to be blamed. How could it be that Shakyamuni Buddha is to be blamed? O good man, Shakyamuni Buddha well observes such impartiality, looking upon all people as one would look on one's only son. Such a one who practices the way is called one who practices the all-equal mind of a bodhisattva, and one who possesses a mind that loves an only son. O good man, the bodhisattvas, practicing thus, gains a long life and is now able to see what took place in the past. This is an interesting passage. I find it's interesting to me because I think it's a very critical issue in our very, very violent and confused world today. How easily words are taken forcibly out of context to meet some strange combative agenda, rhetoric. For what purpose? Bodhisattva Kashyapa said again to Shakyamuni Buddha, O world-honored one, you say that a bodhisattva practicing impartiality can well view beings just as one views one's only son, and that such a person gains a long life. But you should not say this. Oh no, again, correcting Shakyamuni. Why not? Well, one who knows Dharma indeed speaks well of filial duty, but back home he beats his parents with tiles and gravel in defiance of the fact that one's parents are the best field of wheel, where much wheel influence comes about, such as is the most difficult to encounter. Where the person should be making offerings, he performs malevolence. There is a distinction between what this person knows and what he does. What Shakyamuni Buddha says is also like this. The bodhisattva practices impartiality and views beings as an only son, and then gains a long life, can look into the past and live eternally or outside of time, and there cannot be any change. Now, why is that the world-honored one is like a person with the shortest life in the world? Does not Shakyamuni Buddha entertain hatred against all beings? Wow. O world-honored one, what malevolence acts did you perform in the past? How many benevolence acts did you commit so as to gain the shortest life, which does not even extend to 100 years? Wow, the arrogance of this guy. Woo! That's rough. And again, it's not about time. It's not about how long you live. He's using the term long life to mean long known influence, That doesn't mean this corporeal life. This isn't important in Buddhism. The mind and the experience of life is what's important in Buddhism. This just a vehicle to provide and keep it healthy because it provides for the mind to exist, yeah? Shakyamuni Buddha said to Kashyapa, "Oh, good man, under what circumstances do you bring across your lips such rough-hewn words against Shakyamuni Buddha?" The life of Shakyamuni Buddha is the longest and most superior of longest lives. His eternal or outside of time Dharma is the unsurpassed of all eternal or outside of time things. Right? Think now Tathagata. In our cyclical conformal universe is the closest thing you could think of to always and forever. It's not Shakyamuni, this man. That's not his life. Do you understand? Bodhisattva Kashyapa said again to Shakyamuni Buddha, "O world-honored one, how did you, Shakyamuni Buddha, gain eternal or outside of time life?" Now, don't be confused now. I know I grew up Catholic. This word eternal, I have a little note here, and I have already alluded to it. This confusion of Tathagata versus Buddha is almost intolerable at this point, but important to note. Kashyapa asked the Tathagata, quote-unquote, about previously committed malevolent acts. This obviates the false notion that the Tathagata is a created thing. Buddha is a created thing. In the mind of sentience as experienced by living beings, in human existence, Buddha travels with the physical realms of cause and effect, but the Tathagata does not. Shakyamuni Buddha said to Bodhisattva Kashyapa, "O good man, there are 8 great rivers, which are the Ganges, the Yamuna, the Sarabu, the Ajitavati, the Mahi, the Indus, the Patsu, and Sita. All these 8 rivers and other small rivers drain into the great ocean. O Kashyapa, all the great rivers of life of all people, the pure land, earth, and sky, drain into the Tathagata's sea of life." There it is. As I often say, life isn't just on earth. We egocentrically hear that rhetoric all the time. Is there life out there? Is life only on earth? Earth is life. Moon is life. Uranus is life. Galactica, the entire cosmos is life. Just because it doesn't all look like you when you look in the mirror doesn't mean it isn't life. After all, you are not life. Your experience is life. Mull that one over. Hence, the length of life of the Tathagata is incalculable. It is equal to the universe, deeper, the source of the universe, the quiescence. Also, next, O Kashyapa, as an illustration, it is like the case of Lake Anavapatapata, which carries forth 4 rivers. The same with Shakyamuni Buddha, carrying forth the Tathagata-ness. It carries forth all lives. O Kashyapa, as an example of all eternal things, that of space is the foremost. He says it explicitly. The cosmos, space. Don't even look at the things, look at the space. It's incalculable, right? It is the foremost. The same is The same is the case with the Tathagata field. It is the foremost of all eternal or outside of time fields, Okashapa. This is as in the case of ghee, most delicious and efficacious medicine, the first of all medicines. The same is the case with the Tathagata field. It is the one possessed of the longest life, the life of all life, the cosmos, and the engine of life. Bodhisattva Kashyapa said again to Shakyamuni Buddha, if the life of the Tathagata field is thus, you, Buddha, must live for a kalpa or just less than a kalpa and be delivering lectures in the way of the great rain falls. This kalpa or just less than a kalpa is a reference to older teaching about the Bodhisattva Mahasattva who has attained Buddhahood. The long life they will receive is a kalpa or just less than a kalpa. But again, the mistake is believing that the Bodhisattva is this stuff. The fingers, feet, tongue. Remember, Buddhism is about the mind. So if you attain Bodhisattva Mahasattva, Buddhahood, your body will not start to glow and put out light from your ears and your top knot and your forehead. That's magical thinking. That's cartooning thinking. It may feel thus, but your Buddhahood is in your mind, not in this. Right? And the influence of your presence in this Saha world will be experienced by those others with which you commune long past your date of demise, death. Right? I still talk about my sister. She passed in 1986. She's still, parts of her are very much alive within my mind. Of course, they're all interpretations right now. She's gone, even my thoughts of her are gone. But my thoughts of her now relate to now. All right, before I confuse you. O Kashyapa, do not entertain the thought of extinction regarding the Tathagata field. O Kashyapa, there may be amongst the bhikshus, bhikshunis, upasakas, upasikas, or even among the non-Buddhist heretics, a person who possesses the 5 divine powers or unmolested power of a rishi. He may live in a kalpa or less than a kalpa. This is that reference to the lifespan of Bodhisattva Mahasattva I was just talking about. He may be able to fly through the air and be unmolested or unconstrained, whether he is reclining or sitting. He emits fire from the left side of his body or water from his right side. His body emits smoke and flames like a fireball. If he desires to live long, he can do as he wills. He can freely lengthen or shorten his life. With such divine power, he has such freedom of power. And how could this not be possible with Shakyamuni Buddha, who possesses unmolested, unlimited power in all things? How could it not be, that he can live for half a kalpa, 100 kalpas, 100,000 kalpas, or innumerable kalpas? On account of this, know that the Tathagata field is an eternal or outside of time, and unchanging potential in all life. It's not me, little old me, underdog. It's not me. The Tathagata field, the body of the Tathagata field, the entire cosmos, is a transformed body in the body of all phenomena, and not one supported by various kinds of food. See how he's making the distinction? In order to pass beings to the other shore, it manifests itself amidst poisonous trees. Hence, Shakyamuni Buddha manifests himself discarding his carnal body and entertaining nirvana. Know, O Kashyapa, that the Tathagata field is an eternal and unchanging existence. O all of you, practice the way in this Paramartha Satya, or the truth of the transcendent reality. Make effort and practice the way with one mind, having practiced the way, expound it widely to others. There's the whole game. You want a long life of influence, right? Creating wonderful karma, influencing karma toward enlightenment beyond your mortal years. Then practice the way with one mind. Having practiced the way, expound it widely to others. There it is. That's the whole book. So I'll close this. I'll close this with a parenthetic note that I put in the book here. 2 points. We are confronted here again with the dual meaning of nirvana. The use just above suggests that nirvana is equitable to physical death. This, I think, is one of the fallacies of language and translations. Nirvana is a sort of death in that it is the emancipation from the samsara mind of thingness. We could say that this is when samsara dies as a reality, but even as we might make such a statement, it is simultaneous that this death comes as a result, the consequence of the birth of enlightenment. The Buddha consciousness of the mind, which, after all, has not experienced a physical change, so the death aspect of nirvana is not physical, but a metaphoric death of patterns of thought in the mind that replaces samsara with Buddha. It is an exchange. Second, it must be clear by now that the Tathagata field is not a thing, but a potential from which things manifest into form. And in the Saha world, in that realm of form, is the sentient mind of human beings, and takes the name Namarupa of Buddha. All right. We'll continue with Bodhisattva Kashyapa teaching Shakyamuni Buddha in our next video. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Hey, I was just looking at a couple of people got off of Patreon. You know, life is always changing, and sometimes you just can't support. I know when you leave the constant repeated billing to support this effort of ours with this channel, the website, which is up, by the way, the podcast, all of that, Bookstore. I'm incredibly grateful, as all of us are grateful, because without your support, none of us would be sharing these tools and this knowledge for our practice. So really, very laudable bodhisattva behavior, whether you're on Patreon or you use PayPal, or you're buying books. And so all of it helps to support what I do here and disseminate to all of you. But I fully understand that sometimes life throws curves at you, jobs get weird, your employment, your money, your facilities to faculties to support, they change. And if that happens, I want to stay with you and somehow bequeath to you my support for being in that situation so you can get back on your feet for your life, right? And make it easier for when our life is stable, it's easier to practice. It's also easier to go Titan and slough off. So don't let that happen. But at any rate, I just really, really, really want you guys to understand how much I appreciate you. And if all you're able to do is like and subscribe, that is also very helpful for our Sangha to grow. So keep it up. Keep up your practice. Savor it. Take care of your health, please. And I will see you in the next one. Undoubtedly. All right. Thanks so much. Bye for now.